Testing. Testing. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me now? Testing. 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 All right. Now, can you guys hear me? All right. Great. Okay. So here we are. You know, one of the problems with live streaming is by the time you get all the stuff together and you want to, all the stuff that you're trying to do, you don't really have this. Hold on, guys. Let me get all this stuff back together now. Once you do all this stuff, you really don't have the spirit to actually talk about the stuff you want to talk about anymore. This time I'm just going to move this stuff over here. So I'm going to hold the microphone. So hopefully you don't hear me rumbling around too much. But you really don't have the spirit to talk about the stuff that you want to talk about originally because you've done all this pre-prep and it all failed. So what I did this time is I actually took notes. I actually wrote notes down. Just so you guys know, I've been at this since 10:30 this morning. I was supposed to do the same stream 10:30 this morning, and I had everything set up, and for whatever reason, it just refused to work. So I rescheduled the stream for 12:30. Rescheduled the stream, tested everything out. I had a great stream health according to YouTube. Everything was going well, and all I had to do was press start. And I pressed start, and nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. So finally, I went ahead and did everything I was supposed to do, and put in the new stream key and all that stuff. And it still didn't. You saw me streaming, but I couldn't. You couldn't hear me. So I don't know what the issue is. I don't know what the problems are, but for now, I am through with OBS Studio. I want to make the streams professional, make them look good. In everything that I've done, I was stopped in every way. So I'm just going to stop using the software for now and just start streaming through YouTube. It's quick and easy, and it gets things done. So I'm just going to work from there. And the big problem with this, of course, is that, people that were waiting in that last stream, well, I see you guys are all here now, so that's good. But with that being said, let me jump into what I want to talk about. Now, last night I was watching some videos, and if you're on my Twitter, you saw me like a few videos. You saw me like some Jordan Peterson videos and things like that. But I came upon this video from Honey Badger Radio, and for those who don't know Honey Badger Radio, they are, or at least she's a men's rights activist, and she's one of a few female men's rights activists. The first men's rights activist I ever discovered was Karen Strong, and then Honey Badger Radio. I think she's actually part of Honey Badger Radio. I know they kind of run together. But what happened was there was a point in time where she wanted to go to a convention, and she wanted to go to the Calgary Comics Expo. And she's a comic book artist. Let's see, she's a comic book artist, and she created a book, and she wanted to just go to the convention like everybody else and promote her comic book. So at the time, now, just for some additional information, and I was going to say that there's a link in the description, but I don't know. I don't know if any of those links or anything are still there. I'm going to go to my homepage and fix the stream up just in case. But just so you guys know, she was. This is during the time of Comicsgate. Okay, so what they did was they crowdfunded. They crowdfunded this. They crowdfunded their booth and everything. They got it together. And the reason I want to bring up the fact that they crowdfunded this is because of the fact that I know that's very big with, that's very big with Comicsgate, the whole crowdfunding thing and everything like that. So that's a very big thing. And with that being the case, they did the same thing, crowdfunded, got their booth, and they went to the Calgary Comics Expo. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to read to you. I'm going to read to you her statement. I'm going to kind of paraphrase it here, but in 2015, she was evicted from the Calgary Comics Expo and banned from all their conventions for a period of 10 years because, in her opinion, feminist Sam Maggs decided she didn't like her questioning feminism or advocating for men's rights. For 3 years, Honey Badger Radio fought back against the unlawful eviction, banning, and blacklisting. So the update to this is the judge upheld it in a ruling full of errors of law and fact. The Mary Sue and Cal X are asking her for $174,000 to punish her for standing up to them. So that's pretty much what's going on. So I want to kind of revisit that because I see a lot of similarities to Comicsgate and what's happening with this case. Now, in case you guys are wondering, I had this up here. I was going to kind of talk about this a little bit real quick in the housekeeping portion. You guys know I like to do housekeeping before I start doing these videos, but this is just a character I created. I'm not even going to really, I'm kind of disgusted right now, so I'm not really going to really talk about that. So I might even just kind of, if I had one of those, if I had that thing where you can just put up your avatar, I would do that because I'm probably not going to be drawing anything right now or anything. But basically, I want to talk about this because I want to break down the idea of how these things or how people work together to gatekeep based around their politics, which we all know that this happens. And I'm not Nick Rekieta or anything like that. I don't have all the law stuff together. I actually used to do some law clerking back in the day, but I am not in any way, shape, or form a lawyer. So I want to jump into some things to show how this actually happened and refer it back to what's happening with us now. So Honey Badger Radio, as I talked about before, are they're men's rights activists, but she has a comic book herself. And the comic book was called Xenophoria, if I remember correctly. Let me check that. It's called Xenophoria. And this is something that she had worked on for years. And I've included a link in the down below, so that you can click on that and you can see her original video, and you can check that out and you can kind of see what she's talking about. It's a long video. It's like 40 some minutes, a very emotional video. And the thing about this video is that she did sue. All right. She sued the expo for breaking her contract, because she had a contract with them. And basically the contract was just what you would expect from from dealing with a comic book convention. But they broke the contract with her for no reason. So the breakdown of what happened was, she went to a panel, and they were doing a panel about women in comics. So she went to that panel, and she asked a question. I don't know exactly what the question was that she asked, but she asked a question, and according to their tweets and things, they were interested in the question, and it supposedly made the panel more interesting. But a little bit after that, she was kicked. Her and I'm assuming she had a team with her. They were all kicked out of the comic book convention. So in these situations where you're fighting with the law, or you're there, let me say I want to say this. They took this to court, as I said before, and they were told to settle. So that means the lawyers want them to settle, the judge want them to settle, and they did not. They specifically wanted to move the case forward and get an actual judgment against the convention. And that's how they end up in a situation where they actually ended up losing the case. So what this seems like to me, and I'm going just with the information that I was told, or that I was told from the video and other things that I saw and found out, it seems to me that this was some form of collusion, where they all colluded, where even the people involved, they colluded together to basically shut her down, to keep her from putting this book out, to keep her, not really from putting the book out, but mainly keep her out of conventions, and to, as she said, punish her for not being down with feminism, particularly the type of toxic feminism that we see today. Again, this was not a person who did anything wrong. She didn't violate any rules, nothing of that nature. And we saw this with Jeremy Hambley, and we saw this with other people who get banned from conventions, who haven't particularly done anything wrong. Maybe something was done to them, but they end up having to kind of kowtow to this idea of whatever the social justice norm is at the time. So we see this in the idea that, okay, they always claim that everybody else has power and they have no power, but you actually see the amazing power that they have. They have the ability to get people blackballed from these events, get people kicked out of these events. The question as to what she did wrong, there is, to my knowledge, no evidence that she actually did do anything wrong, aside from ask a question at a panel. Now, a lot of people, if you look at various threads, I know there's a Reddit thread about this, but if you look at those threads, there are people who seem to say, well, she derailed the conversation. That's not a reason to get kicked out of the convention. And what I want to kind of focus on is the punishment, if you will, for going against feminists, going against political correctness, particularly in Canada. This is not, it's not this bad in America yet, but in Canada, there's definitely a problem with the SJW, failing to adhere to those kind of ideas. You can get in some very serious problems, and she wouldn't be the first person to get into a situation like this, uh, based on the fact that, oh my God, I don't believe in this, or I'm trying to go against this ideology. And keep in mind, this is not the first time when the people going against these ideologies happen to be women, or they happen to be minorities or something like that, and they end up being shut down. So these aren't the oppressive white majority, with all the money, and they're just stepping on the small guy. No, these are, in the case of Antarctic, you had an Asian male. In the case of Alterna, same thing. And in the case of Honey Badger Radio, you have a woman. So these are the people that they're shutting down, the people who they claim that they're trying to help. So let's get into the dangers of, or I should say, the danger of a monopoly. And one of the things we have in America is we have this thing where you try to keep companies from getting too big. Now, people can argue how well that's worked, but it's after you say the Honey Badger story kind of makes me worried for, yes, that's what I want to bring up. I'm glad that you said that. That's what I want to bring up. But before we jump into that, I want to hit this. The company that owns the convention is Informa. Okay, now the issue here when we talk about monopolies is, since they own that convention, they own a whole bunch of other conventions. And owning these conventions, they're not only able, and they actually own some conventions here in America too. But at first, she was locked out of that one convention for 10 years. Now she's locked out of all these conventions, any convention owned by Informa. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong about this, they can correct me in the comments. But the conventions there, and a few of them here in America, are owned by Informa, and she's locked out of all those conventions permanently for nothing. She did nothing wrong that I have seen, and I'm saying, if she did anything wrong, please show me the evidence of her wrongdoing. Questioning someone at a panel is not doing wrong. Okay, now, let's see. Now, Hoth Rebel, you brought up the point that I wanted to talk about, and thank you for bringing up that point. Now, you brought up the point about Zack, and I would say anybody who's going to take these cases to court. I think Zack is, Zack, Ethan, anybody. I'm trying to think who else. Jeremy, I know he's got a case coming up. If the judges are infected by this SJW mentality, if the judges are infected by this, they are going to generally side with the. They're going to side with the people. They're going to side with the defendant if the defendant happens to be an SJW and they're fighting against this. It's going to get kind of hard for anybody to have an opposing opinion. Now, from what it seems to me, if I'm understanding this correctly, it seems that the judge and everybody kind of knew that the convention was in the wrong. Okay, that's why they kept trying to say, they all tried to get her to settle. Now, here's the issue with a settlement. If she settles, and Zack and everybody else, this is something to consider. And again, this is why most people don't want to settle. If she settles or if they settle, that means they can settle, and part of the agreement can be you don't talk about this, you don't broadcast this, you don't let people know this lawsuit was settled. But if you get a judgment, you're free to kind of say and do everything that you want to say. So, and Hot Rebel, you say America is a bit more fair. That's what we're hoping. That is what we're hoping. We're hoping that America is a bit fair, but you never know, because there have been cases here where that type of mentality has actually won the day, even though you kind of look at it and say, well, you know the law says this. And I think in that situation, it was, the law stated one thing and the judge and everybody else knew it, but the judge erred on the side of the company, which it seems as if I'm understanding this correctly, it seems like they literally kind of went against the law to file or to rule in favor of the defendants, who in that particular situation was the comic book convention. So they went against the law to file in favor of the convention, because if they were to do otherwise, it would make the convention and everybody else on the I would say the SJW side. I hate to keep using that term, but on that side, it would make them look bad. So that's the situation that we ended up with, where a group of people ended up with their careers and everything destroyed, or at least she ended up with her career destroyed, because she decided to fight against the SJW NPC, whatever you want to call it. She decided to fight against that. So this is kind of a warning, and also trying to, I guess it's a warning, and also trying to shine light on her situation, because her situation is a few months old now, and I heard nothing about it. And I would like for the Comicsgate community to actually talk about it and actually raise awareness to what's going on with her. And I put a comment on her channel. I was hoping maybe she could start a Kickstarter or something, or not Kickstarter, but a Indiegogo or something, where she can possibly sell her books, where she can kind of talk about what happened to her, and she could, sell her books on that Indiegogo, and maybe that would help her with some of her legal fees and things like that. Although part of the problem with that would be she would have to fulfill the orders herself, because she's got a living room full of books there. But that's that was definitely a bad issue. Hard, that was hard to see, and it's hard to watch that video because it's kind of emotional. And knowing the fact that there are people out there who are willing to be that horrible, that they're willing to try to destroy people's career over an incident that is not violent, an incident that was just, that this is authoritarianism. Okay, let's not sugarcoat this. This is authoritarianism. This is, you are bad just for asking the question. You are bad for bringing this up. You are bad for being, for not doing what you're supposed to do as a, whatever you want to call it, for not towing the line. You are bad simply for that, and therefore you can be cut out of anything and everything. So that's basically what I want to kind of talk about, mainly about the dangers of all of this, whether it's the dangers of monopoly as far as with the comic book conventions, and the dangers of, a lot of us are looking at the Zack lawsuit with Zack, and we're all kind of saying he's kind of got this in the bag, but you never know. And that's why, and I appreciate when Nick Rekieta and other people talk about this, and they kind of, say, you never know what can happen. They kind of keep that, just make sure that people understand anything can happen in a courtroom. You never know what the judge is about. You never know what they're thinking and things like that. So it can become very iffy as far as what may or may not happen in these cases. And if other people are actually going to go against the SJWs and things, they are going to possibly need a war chest, because even when these people do something wrong, there's nothing that says that they will be punished for it. As a matter of fact, you may be punished for it simply because you disagree. So that was basically kind of what I want to talk about, and it's kind of sucks because in the other stream, I saw that there were more people chiming in, and in this stream, there's only like 2 or 3 that's here. So I don't know. Maybe that's what was supposed to happen to the stream. I guess I don't know. It's the amount of trouble I had with this one video was absolutely ridiculous. See, how will Comicsgate react if Zack loses? I don't know. I have no idea. I know it would be a big upset. It would expose that this kind of SJW mentality is actually has actually gotten into the legal system. That would be the big thing. I'm hoping, I hope to God that Zack does not lose the lawsuit. I hope that Jeremy can actually win his lawsuit too. And if both of them win their lawsuits, that would be amazing, because it will show that you don't have the right to just mess with people. And that's what it seems like a lot of these people think, that they believe that since they have this opinion, since they have this idea or these ideas, they can just bother people. They can just do what they want. They can say what they want, and they can get away with it. And they've been doing that consistently. So hopefully somebody will shut them down. Hopefully somebody will stop them at some point and say, no, you can't do this to people. It's not right. It's not fair. And no, you can't do this. So that's pretty much it. So I'm going to head out. Next stream, I'm going to just set it up through YouTube, and then come at it through there. Oh, hey, Comic Pro Secrets. What's up? Okay, well, Ethan's here, so if Ethan's here, I'm not going to shut the stream down. Hi, Ethan. What's happening? So EVS is the man. Ethan, I was just telling Hoth Rebel about what's going on, what went on with Honey Badger Radio, and we were talking about the possibilities of losing one of these cases against the SJWs and things like that. What could happen, what the problems could be. I don't know if you're filled in with the situation with Honey Badger Radio and what happened with their court case. They actually lost the court case, and from what I understand, hearing her story about it, it seems like everybody kind of knew they were in the right, and it seems that they still lost the case because they were trying to be pushed to settle. Let's see. Shameful, terrible. These SJWs go unchecked, and we all suffer. It's vital that voices like yours explode. But thank you. I'm definitely trying to talk about this. I think a lot of people are scared, not just in the comic book industry, but in the entertainment industry, because people want to be able to express themselves. And we're not talking about situations where people are actually putting some form of we're not talking about racism, sexism, homophobia, any of that stuff. We're talking about basic debate, basic, back and forths and things like that. And these are the things that are getting shut out. I mean, she got locked out of the convention for asking a question, and now she's banned from all of the conventions. And I linked her video down there. Very very emotional video about what happened. And she's got like thousands of books just kind of sitting there in her living room. And I did mention, I don't know if I mentioned you or some other people mentioned you, Ethan, and kind of told her to get in touch with you. I don't know if anything can be done at this point, but definitely I'm trying to expose her story to the Comicsgate community. And again, this is a situation where she has been on your show. Oh, great. I was trying to say maybe if she could start, I don't know if she did an Indiegogo to sell the books or anything, but just having that, I kind of have this idea that she's kind of saying that she doesn't really have any options to sell the books. I think there are other ways, but I don't know if there are any options where she could really kind of have the visibility that she wants to have. So there really has to be something done about this. And if this mentality affects or infects the legal system here in America, and we know that it has in certain places, it could be bad for Comicsgate. It could be bad for anybody who gets in a situation where they have to actually stand up against these people. Dude, Ethan, do you want to come on the stream? You want me to send you the link, or are you cool just being in the comment section? It'd be cool to get a variety pack of single issue comics, including hers and a few other creators. That would be a great idea. If there was like a way that there could be a like a Comicsgate variety pack, something like that, where people could see it. See, I was just hanging out and listening, Nathan, but you're doing a great job. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you very much. I've been definitely trying to. I guess I've been kind of on the outskirts of Comicsgate, but definitely supporting Comicsgate as far as what they're trying to do, what we're trying to do, I guess. This idea of bringing it back to the consumer and saying, pointing out that, hey, this is a business. Comics is a business, and if you're, if you're working for one of these big two companies, you're working for Marvel, you're working for DC, and you're working with these characters, it's not for you to come in and decide you want to use them for your own politics. And if you want to do that at your company, I mean, I have stuff in my comics that people would, I guess, kind of deem political. I wouldn't necessarily deem it as such, but that's something they could do if they want to do that. Let's see, happy anniversary, Ethan. Yes, happy anniversary, Ethan. If I missed that, happy anniversary. I've been and just so you guys know, Ethan, so you know, I was tried to do this stream this morning, but OBS was messing with me here. But that was basically what I was going to talk about today, and I want to stream about real quick. Thank you for dropping in, Ethan, and thank you, Hoth Rebel. Hoth Rebel is that's my guy. He's always here for the streams. So thank you guys, and I'm going to go ahead and end it. Next time, I'm going to just stream through YouTube. So you too, Ethan. You have a great day, and Hoth Rebel, you have a great day as well. And guys, hasta.